Publication Consultants, we honor Alaska Book Week and believe in the power of authors. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce Charlene Francis, who immigrated to the United States from South Africa 3 years ago. After a brief stay in California, Alaska's undeniable pull led her north, where she found inspiration and began writing books, turning her lifelong love for reading and writing into a powerful creative journey. Greetings, Charlene.
Good afternoon, Evan.
It's a pleasure to be here with you today. Any opening statement that you would like to say as we start this recording?
I am fully ready to just dive in.
Okay, well, let's just start here. Many authors draw from their personal experiences. Are there any specific events or moments in your life that directly inspired you to be an author, or one of your stories, or anything specific, the aha moment in your life when you do, I wanted to be a writer, or something that inspired you? Anything there?
My inspiration to write stories is often I read books and then I think, that didn't end like I wanted it to end, or that person isn't the person I wanted him to be. So I thought, well, hey, I will write my own books and see if I can make a story that I enjoy, and then hopefully other people will enjoy that too. So it took quite a lot of reading in the libraries to get that inspiration to think, okay, I'm going to give this a go and do it and see how it goes.
I know that people listening to this are going to say, how did a South Africa girl get to Alaska? And is there anything in common? I mean, your background is South Africa, maybe before South Africa. And what does that have to do with this Alaska girl and Alaska Book Week and Publication Consultants? How's that all come together?
Oh, from childhood. We used to have this massive red book called the Atlas of the World. And out of all the many, many countries in that book, I would just turn straight to Alaska and start just staring at the pictures and thinking, oh, this is just so wonderful. Imagine being there. And eventually, my sister sponsored us to move to the States. It took 16 years for us to finally get here. And Alaska, to me, is just so inspirational. Everything changes all the time. If you drive down the road to work, the mountains are different to when you were there this morning. And so Hawaiian, Alaskan, an African and Alaskan, things are quite similar in Alaska to Africa, but much bigger, much better, and much more beautiful.
I'm glad you said that. Alaska does have a draw. There's no other country, state, area, region that has a draw like Alaska. I was just as a short little thing, I was in a restaurant in New York one time, and I mentioned that to the person I was visiting with. And I said that everybody wants to come to Alaska. And he says, I don't think that everybody does. And I said, well, I think you'll be the only one in the room that doesn't want to come to Alaska. And he says, well, there's no way we could prove that. And I says, we can prove it right now. And he said, how can we do that? I said, I'll show you. And I stood up and I shouted as loud as I could, may I have your attention? And the room got silent, quiet, and everyone was looking at me. And I said, we're having a discussion here. And the person that I'm talking with says that there's no one wants to come to Alaska. Is there anyone in this room that would like to come to Alaska? And every person in the room raised their hand. I says, thank you. And I sat down, and the noise picked up again, and I turned to my friend and said, well, there you have it. And so, you've been in that room, Charlene. You maybe raised both hands. I don't know.
I would have. But that's when I was in Africa, people would say to me, oh, whereabouts are you going to go and live? And I'd go, I'm going to Alaska. And they go, oh, you are so lucky. I wish I was you. And then when I came to the States, the folks in California would go, it's a bit cold. Isn't it cold there? Do they have people there? They were asking me all this. Is it a real city? Are there roads? I'm going to go look.
Well, let's talk about, you've recently published 2 books. Let's talk about Hollers first.
Yeah.
And that's an Africa book, not an Alaska.
Yes.
The name and everything is South Africa. What was your inspiration to write Hollers?
Hollers actually was a horse that we used to have. He was my son's horse. And I said to the people that had him before, what happened to him? Was he in an accident? And they told me the story of what had happened and his whole rescue. And for years after that, I was thinking, I really need to write about that, because nobody knows about what actually happens behind the scenes in that kind of situation. And it was a hard book to write. I cried most of the time because I know the horse. But that's the inspiration was the fact that no one really knows what goes on their doorsteps.
That was just a story that needed to be told.
Yes.
I know that it's a story that any animal lover, particular horse lovers, would be very much interested in, whether you're in the United States or Africa.
Yes.
I know inspiration.
Absolutely. It's all about rescue, and it's very heartwarming, the story. People sometimes say to me, oh no, they're scared to read it because they don't want to cry. And then I go, that's only part of it. The rest of it is, there's a lot of love and warmth and friendship in the whole book.
Indeed there is. Well, let's talk about McKinley. Now, at first blush, when the name McKinley comes up, we're talking about Alaska. And so I think not. So tell us about McKinley.
That is a completely different book to Hollers. McKinley, she was supposed to have been abducted and ended up in Alaska, but the whole story unfolded and it never happened at all. It just went off on its own exciting adventure based in Russia. I did a lot of research and quite enjoyed reading up about how the Eastern live in Eastern Russia, and it was close enough to Alaska to mix the two together. So wait for the next book. That's definitely going to be in Alaska.
The next one is Alaska for sure.
Definitely.
You will arrive all the way home to Alaska with the next book.
She's going to have a wild ride.
Okay, well, that. Charlene, what Alaska authors or stories have inspired you? You have any of those inspired your writing, or you read a lot? Anything there specifically? I
haven't been here very long, but I've had the great pleasure of meeting the authors on Author Masterminds. I can't wait to get stuck into their books. All of them write amazing books about amazing Alaska. And the things that go on here, there's just material to last forever. So I'm really, really happy to have met the people on Author Masterminds, and I recommend their books all the time. because
any specific books written by author masterminds that appeal to you that you could think of right now?
Steve Levi's books with a history, I find the history of places extremely, extremely interesting. And I'm wanting to get his books from the beginning to the end. Robin's books as well, with their All Her Mystery in the Bush in the Kodiak Island. I know she's just come up with one, but I'm going to wait with that new one. I want to read the ones before that, before tucking into that one. Yeah, and then there's the science fiction with Sol. She has got some interesting write-ups. I read her parts of her books, and they look very different and really exciting.
Okay. Well, let's look to the future. Are there any other themes, stories that you haven't explored, Alaska you haven't explored? What's coming up for you, Charlene?
Oh, okay. As I said, I have got the second episode of McKinley that I'd love to write. I don't stick with one genre. I have got one book. It's another horsey book that blends magic and legend and mystery in with reality, which is what Alaska inspires me to do. And then I've got actually a lot of books brewing around in my head. I'm writing 2 books at once at the moment.
Okay. Charlene, you mentioned author masterminds, and you're a member of masterminds, and each one of the author masterminds have a tagline. Now, you have a tagline as well, do you not, with author masterminds? What is your tagline?
My tagline is writing from the heart. And that's an advice I'd like to give to up-and-coming authors or people that are really wanting to write a book, is don't worry about not being educated enough or not knowing enough of the right people. As long as you write your books from your heart and you have a good editor, then you join in with other people, make contact with other authors, and then shout to the world what you have.
Thank you, Charlene. I think we'll end it there. That is absolutely profound. I've enjoyed this interview with you. I've known you for a long time, but I don't really know you. And I found out a lot about you, and I'm sure that people that watch this short interview will be interested. And I suspect that you may be hearing from a few people as a result of this. And again, we appreciate you being here. And of course, this is sponsored by Alaska, by Publication Consultants. And we do honor Alaska Book Week, and we believe in the powers of authors. Thanks for being here, Charlene, and we'll see you another time. But in the meantime, keep in touch.
Thank you, Evan. It was lovely being with you.